Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of What's Happening in Travel. My buddy Kusher is not here, so I'm alone today. But today I'm going to talk about Norse. I I did a review about the economy class fare from Fort Lauderdale to Berlin, and I hope you get a chance to look at that. That's episode 89. So just go to passrider.com/WHIT, and you'll be able to see that episode, see and hear that episode if you're just listening. And so today I'm going to talk about the Norse flight. Now, uh, I had positioned myself in Oslo, and I'm running out of batteries, so I have to pause and hold on just a sec. Okay, so computer plugged in, we're ready to go. So behind me is a Norse aircraft that I flew back, and this one is Rondane. I'm gonna have to do an article about a podcast about how airlines name their airplanes, and because some do people, some do places. Like I think KLM does places, and but this one is Rondane. It's a 787-9. All right, so we're going to talk about this flight that I took. Now, the interesting thing about this flight is I had flown over to Berlin and then I went to the Faroe Islands. And if you go to passrider.com, you will see I did a piece about four churches and a funeral that I visited while in the Faroe Islands. So now I got positioned and I'm in Oslo and ready to get the flight over. So at the 3 hour mark, I walked over. I stayed at a hotel very close to the airport, so I could just walk over. And I went over. Oh, before I start though, for this particular flight, I paid for my flight, but Norse, I contacted someone there, and they gave me. I wanted to get a window seat, and if you listen to the previous episode, you'll see how they do the seats so randomly. And with Norse, you pay for everything, right? And so the seats, even in premium economy, you have to pay for your seat assignment. And they gave me a seat assignment, which is worth $75. I just want to fully disclose that. So on to the review. I got to the airport a little earlier than the 3 hour mark because I wanted to see them all set up, and they were just setting up the counter for Norse. And they do have a special counter for economy and a special, well, I guess it's the other one. They have a counter for economy, and they have a special counter for the premium economy folks. So I once they were all set up and ready to go and called us forward, I went ahead. There was that one other guy who was ahead of me, and he had some bags he was checking. And if this is the first time you're talking about Norse, maybe I should go back and give you a little background. So Norse is a new airline that's flying across the Atlantic. They basically took some of the routes that Norwegian used to fly, and I think some of the airplanes as well. And so they're based in Oslo, and they're flying to, I think now they're doing like Los Angeles. They do Fort Lauderdale. I flew Fort Lauderdale to Berlin, but that route is no longer being operated. But they're now doing Fort Lauderdale to Oslo. They're doing JFK to Paris. They're doing Oslo to LA. They're doing JFK to London, I think is some of the routes. So they just got some certificates so they could fly different places. So for those not familiar, airlines need permission to fly whatever routes they want to fly, and they need what's called operating certificates. And so they have special certificates that, although because they're based in Oslo, so they need permission to fly out of the UK. So I guess I think they had to register a separate company. So there might be like Norse UK, so they can fly from the UK to the US. And every country have what's called bilateral agreements, usually, which allows airlines from either country to fly between those countries. and maybe we should have a podcast that explains all that at some point. It gets very technical. You as a consumer, you don't really care. You get on a plane and you get off the plane. That's all that works. But behind the scenes is all these little things that make it all work. So I went up and got checked in, and I didn't have a bag. I just had my backpack, so it was fine. But as a priority person on the plane, premier economy passenger, I actually get one checked bag and I get a carry-on for the fare that I have. So the cool thing was they had a fare sale, and so I got this ticket. I think it was for like 220 something dollars. Which was actually a very good fare for premium economy. And it included, I got everything except seat assignment from that fare. I think I picked the one that didn't get me the seat assignment. Maybe I did pick the one that got the seat assignment. I'll show you the fare that I picked in the other one because they have different levels of fares. And just like in economy, you can pick whatever your level of fare is. In premium economy, you can pick the same way. I think they have maybe 2 or maybe 3 different fares that you need. It's a low cost carrier, so that's how that works. You pay for what you use. So I got checked in and I got my boarding pass. Now I did check in online, but Norse does not have online check-in. That means they don't issue a boarding pass to you online. They don't have kiosks, so you can't use a kiosk at the airport, and they don't have an app, so you can't use the app to check in either. But you can check in online. But when you check in, you get a note that says this is not a boarding pass, and so you have to go see an agent. Now, in case of premium economy, you can't upsell me to anything because I'm already in premium economy. And you have to give me a seat anyway, and it's day of departure. So maybe what you can do is just give me my boarding pass online somehow. I guess a PDF document is probably what will work for that. But I went and checked in. It was very smooth. I got my boarding pass, and now comes the fun part. I go in Oslo. They have a counter, a special area for priority, and an area for non-priority. Now the airport wasn't packed, so I didn't. I mean, it's late at night. It's there's only it's like half a board or maybe 3/4 of the flight board of flights departing at that time, and I get to the air and I'm excited because I see Norse on there as a premium carrier, so I can go through the premium section. Well, I put my boarding pass on, and it got rejected. It said, nope, you cannot go through this area. And I tried a few times. And then I'm like, oh, maybe it's not working. And this other guy comes behind me. He's flying a different airline and he puts his boarding pass over and it works. So I'm like, So I don't know, Norris. Your logo is up there, but I couldn't use a priority thing. So I had to go through the regular area, and they're all connected. And there wasn't many people, so it didn't make a difference. But I was not very happy that I couldn't use it. I didn't talk to anybody about it. So this is actually the first time I'm talking about it. So I go through. Another thing is that you don't. So with Norse, you buy everything separately, and I'll show you in the booking in a little bit. But one of the things that you didn't buy was a lounge access. Now, I probably understand why, because in Oslo Airport, there aren't any other lounges. It's SAS or nothing. There was another lounge, but I don't think I was eligible for that. And so I was not very happy with the Oslo Gardermoen airport. I expected a little more. Actually, I spoke to a lady. I was asking them if they had a grocery store, and she's like, no. And she was not very happy. She went off on a whole tangent about I can't believe they haven't closed in the pharmacy, and they were. The pharmacy was closed. But what they have is these little kiosk things. So you can buy like water and things like that from these kiosks, but there is no grocery store. And she was not very happy. Apparently, she has to go on the bus to get to a grocery store because she was telling me where it was. And it was like, 2 degrees Celsius outside, which is close to freezing. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And actually, it felt like it was below freezing because of the wind chill. But so I went through security. Of course, you go through duty free and all that again. And then I was really there early because the flight's 7:45. And by now, I don't know, it might have been about I was here 3 hours before. So it was probably like 4:30. Actually, it's probably by 5 o'clock by now because I was already through security. So what I did, I just basically walked around the airport. And one of the cool thing I saw was a bust for there's an airline in Oslo, in Norway called Brathen Safe, S period, A period, F period, E period. And the guy who founded it, there's a bust of him in the airport. If you're not an airline geek, you probably wouldn't care about this. But Brathens was way back in the day. They're no longer around. It might have been absorbed into different airlines. Um, so I thought that was pretty cool, just walking around and seeing it. Now Oslo Airport is large. So it's good to see a lot more Norse airplanes hanging out, and I saw some SAS A320, I think it was, in the old SAS colors. So as an airline geek, I was excited. I didn't have anything to do anyway. Now, one of the things I wanted to do from that airport at some point is Ethiopian goes to Addis from Oslo, but the flight stops in um, uh, I was gonna say Norway. It stops in Arlanda Airport in Sweden. So you can go. The flight actually goes Oslo to Sweden and then Sweden to Addis Ababa, and it comes back in the same direction. So if you want to fly Ethiopian in business class, that is actually where to do it. It's like $600 though. And the economy fare is like $97 or so, or $70, I think it was. Quite the difference. But it's a cool and we'll probably do an episode about they call it Fifth Freedom flights. And so this is where the countries give each other permission to fly between, so basically Norway and they can fly between Norway and Sweden, and it's Ethiopian is from Ethiopia, which is in Africa, but they have the right to fly between that and actually take passengers. And the reason is because the flight actually originates in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and it goes to Ethiopia to Sweden, then Sweden to Norway, and then it goes back. So it comes in the morning, it goes back at night. So that flight was actually departing across the way from our flight. It was actually delayed for some reason. I think it had a mechanical or something like that. But if you're an airline geek, that's a really cool flight to take. Now we departed from now it says 588 if you're looking at on screen, but it was like F34 or something like that. A lot of airports do have this where the number that's outside that you see on the gate is not the same as what you see inside, and Norway is one of them. Um, so we were at F34, I think is where we were, and it's at the end, the very last gate, right next to the one that was F33, which is the one. One sec. I'm getting too many beeps from my phone. Yeah, so which is the one that was next to the 787 that was going to Ethiopia. Um, so you actually have to clear immigration because you're leaving the EU. So you have to clear immigration, and then they give you a stamp, and you get stamped out. And she was like, "Well, where did you come in?" And I said, "I came in Berlin." And then she goes, "Oh, okay." And then she looked for the Berlin page, and then she gave me a stamp, and I was stamped out. And so that was it. Uh, at the gate itself, they also have a priority lane and a regular economy lane to go. So they do take care of you and make sure that you go in a priority lane each time if you're a priority premium passenger. Now, you can actually pay for the priority lane. It's one of the upsells that they give you when you buy your economy class ticket. It's like $20 or something like that. So you can do that if you want to. The flight was very empty anyway. So I get to the gate, and they scan the boarding pass, and we just waited only a few minutes, and then the airplane behind me, we started to board. And I wanted to go in earlier so I could take a photo before it got dark, but they wouldn't let me in the gate area. So the photo I got. It's not bad. I think the night photo is a little better than the day photo, just at twilight anyway. So we boarded, and there's this guy, like I wanted to get on first because I wanted to get some good photos, but this guy was just like really walking fast ahead of me, so I was the first one on, but that's okay. So we got on and we got greeted by their two flight attendants, and that we boarded by the middle door, and so when you get on, you go left for the business, the priority, and then right for economy class. And so when you get on for priority, they have it's 232, which is actually pretty good because it's a 787. And I was just looking at some of the airlines, they have 242 for their premium economy. I know that British Airways has that. I know United does, and I think American also has a 242 for premium economy. But Norse uses 232, which is actually quite good. And there's 8 rows. And the cabin was very empty. There were 2 people behind me. Then it was me. And then there was like a guy up front to the right. And there was another guy on the left. There's 1, 2, and there's a lady. So it's 2, 3, 4. There were 6 people in the cabin. Flight attendants came around. And I guess I don't even think they really, I think they just said hello. That was kind of it. You know, when you got to the seats, there's nothing on the seats. The seats are just the seats. And then when you so eventually we got buttoned up. The captain came on. He said the flying time was like 7.5 hours. We're gonna get there early. I'm like, another time we're gonna get there early, and I bet we won't get a gate. But stay tuned to hear what happened at the end there. So we get buckled up. Fuel is finished, and we actually, it's a 7:45 departure, and we pushed about 7:38, so that was good. And you know, it's pitch black outside, but it's cool when you get the flashing light from the airplane. The whole thing is just red because you have this. The 787 have really amazing lighting system, and it's so bright. So I guess if you look at the window, I might have been right there in the little N, between the N and the Norse side of things. And partly the right side is the side that you want to be on if you want to see the what are those lights? Aurora Borealis, the northern lights. But on this voyage, we weren't able to see anything, so it's all good. Now we got pushed back and we took off, and then the flight attendants, they had done the normal flight attendant briefing, but it's only in English. And one thing I didn't talk about in the other one was we were going to Berlin from Fort Lauderdale, and they only did everything in English. Nothing was done in the local language, which should have been in German. And we're going from Oslo to New York, and I thought they would have something in Norwegian because they're originated in Norway, right? But they don't. So my guess is that Norse does not do local language flight attendant briefing, just only in English. And the demo is actually a manual demo. It's not recorded or anything like that. But we took off, and then they came around and they offered blankets and earphones. Earphones for the entertainment system. Now, they also have eye shades and stuff, but those are not offered. You still have to buy those, even in premium. The blanket you didn't have to buy, so they handed those out, and you actually get to keep them. And they're really nice blankets. They're actually quite warm with gray blankets. But they gave those headsets, which I talked about in the previous one, that they're really very crappy headsets, and they just sound like a tin can. And all the airlines serve them. It looks like they come from the same company, and they're terrible. So at some point, somebody in the industry needs to step up the game. It's an opportunity for an entrepreneur out there to actually get better headsets that don't cost a fortune, So you can sell them to the airlines and make some money off it and put this company out of business because the ones that they have are terrible. But anyway, I digress again. So then she came around and I have a little thing. They offered a compliment. Actually, I got a complimentary drink before departure. You need to mention that. All right, so then they came around and they had a complimentary blanket and the headsets. And then she came by and she took drink orders, which I thought was kind of cool. And there's a complimentary beverage. So I had I think I ended up having tea or something like that. I don't drink alcohol, so but you could have gotten wine, beer, soda. And for tea, they had fruity black and green tea with lemon. You could get water, Diet Coke, or Prosecco. So that was actually quite good. And I got some tea. Then after the drink, she came back and she said, well, we have a meal choice because I had included a meal in my ticket. And so you got chicken and tomato sauce and barley rice. And you get salmon with mashed potatoes and broccoli. And I got the chicken, which was actually quite good. The flight then we continued on, and again, there's no entertainment. Well, there's an entertainment system, but there's no movie map displays. I couldn't tell where we were, which I kind of wanted to see when we passed over the Faroe Islands because I just went to the Faroe Islands the day before, but there is no movie map display, so couldn't really see that. The entertainment system is they have TV shows and movies. There's no audio, none that I can remember, but they do have the games, and you can play the word games, or I think there's actually some other games that are on there. What I would have loved is to have like, I don't know, local movies. You know, if you had like a but it was just all US based things. I know that in airplane entertainment, it is extremely expensive. So I get it. I totally understand what goes on there. But I thought maybe something local would be good. I mean, come on, you're Norwegian. You're Norse, so maybe you should have some entertainment from your country. But that's just me. But there wasn't anything. At least nothing that I saw. I could have missed it, but I didn't see anything. I fell asleep while I was trying to do some work, but then I fell asleep and woke up and I took some pictures of the cabin and the seats recline because the seat does have a footrest and it has a little headrest thing that moves, like you can move your to your neck. It does have a pretty decent recline, but if you're probably less than 5 feet, it works well. If you're longer than 5 feet, when you put your foot on the thing on the bottom of the for the footrest, it's a little uncomfortable, at least for me, because I was taller. So it didn't really work, but it's actually quite good. I mean, if you need something to rest, most people are not over 6 feet anyway. So I think it actually works. It actually works well. But then she came back and she was asking you could get tea in between or whatever you wanted to drink in between. And then they also brought duty free. They came through and they served duty free. And they also had about an hour and a little bit before landing, they served a meal. And the meal, let me tell you what it was in one sec. Okay, so remember what we had for the arrival meal. I know I had some tea again, but I can't find my photos, so I have to go back and and look for those. But we did have an arrival meal because when you get the service, there are two meals that are included in there. And so of course we prepare for landing, and it was a really nice landing coming in. And we landed, and of course, we landed early, and there's somebody at our gate, so we had to wait. We did about 20 minutes or so. It didn't make us late. I think we actually arrived, or we were going to arrive like an hour early, but we ended up arriving like about 15 minutes early. We arrived in Terminal 1, and it was easy clearing immigration. Except when I cleared immigration, they have global entry, and it looks at your face and tells you to take your mask off and take your glasses off and take your hat off, and you're looking at the thing, but it doesn't say I got you. It just starts over again. So the first screen you come and see the screen that says take your glasses off, take your mask off, take your hat off. And then you look at it and it goes, okay, and it flashes, and then it just says, take your mask off, take your glasses off. And so I did that for like 5 times because it wasn't working. And the guy next to me was like, it's not working. And then the people who were there to help you, they were like, well, do it again, do it again. So I get up to the front to the officer, and he says, because you're Kerwin, right? And I said, yeah. I showed him my passport, yeah, and I go, I'm in there 5 times. Am I? Am I not? He goes, yeah. I said, well, why didn't they fix it? He goes, yeah, he's talked to them about it, but they haven't fixed it. So if you ever go to global entry, it is going to take your face, and then it's just going to flash and go back to the beginning without any acknowledgement that it worked. So just do it once and then go take your passport and go to the agent, and they will see you in there. So once you arrive, the airport was pretty empty for the arrival section. But of course, I had to go upstairs to check out the airport, and it was packed. Norse was going out at 12:30. I think it was almost 10 o'clock now, after 10. And but Lufthansa was going out. I think Turkish was going out. I think there might have been an Air France flight, but it was pretty packed. And there was a Korean Air flight as well. And like TSA security was like half full. It was pretty amazing for 10 o'clock at night to see how busy that airport was. But I guess it makes sense, right? And then I just took I had a hotel by the airport, so I just took the JFK air train to Federal Circle, and my hotel shuttle picked me up there. So all in all, I thought it was a good flight. I don't know. I think I need more little tender loving care in premium economy than I got. But I understand it's a low cost carrier. And look, they use a 787, like I said before. It's a really nice airplane. The seat was very comfortable. I didn't have any issues. I had a good recline. Except if you recline all the way, you're basically gonna be in the lap of the person behind you. So just bear that in mind. The food was actually quite good. And but the entertainment I think needs to be a little better. I tried to do some work, which wasn't too bad. My computer does fit on the chair table that comes out. They're actually bucket seats, so the screen is inside the seat. It's not on the seat in front of you, kind of thing. And it was good. Cabin was clean. The crew was good. So I had a good time. So thank you, Norse. That worked. Just some minor things I think that would make it work. And thanks for having 232 instead of 242. And I don't go getting any ideas now, folks, and do 242 like the other folks. 232, I mean, of course, that would give you a little more revenue. You could get an extra seat, but you got to change out the whole fleet. Stay 232. It's good. Or maybe I don't think you were 252. I was 232. So that's it for the review. But let me go and share my screen, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what you get when you book. So we will pause forward. So now let me share my screen and give you an idea of what. So Norse, that flynorse.com. That's where Norse sits. And so let me just refresh a little bit. Just want to get an idea of what it all looks like. So when you come to flynorse.com, the screen you get. And I'm just going to do Oslo. So these are all the places that they fly to. Now, again, you will notice that they have other cities that Norse does not serve, but they have an engine in the back end, and what the engine is doing is it's linking up low-cost carriers. So if you put in like a market that they don't fly, it will show you connecting service on low-cost carriers that will get you to connect with Norse. Bearing in mind that typically these airlines do not have interline agreements. If you're checking a bag, give yourself enough time in between. So we did Oslo. I did Oslo to these are the different places that you can go from Oslo. And I'm going to do to Oslo to where are we going? JFK. Okay. And I'm going to choose a date. Now, this is not a daily flight. So when I took the flight, I actually had to stay an extra day in Oslo because I got to Oslo the 10th and the flight left on the 11th. So let's choose something like 24th of May or something, just casually. And it says one of flights to the US may require proof of return travel. But as a US citizen, you don't need anything. So look at the fare. The fare is $299 in premium economy and $154 in economy to get across the Atlantic. That is a good fare, right? I think they actually have a sale on at the moment. And they do have a note that says, as of the 25th of March, passengers traveling between New York and Berlin and Oslo or Paris will now use Terminal 7 at JFK. So it looks like they're moving from Terminal 1 to Terminal 7, but only for those flights. This means that all the flights from Gatwick are still using Terminal 1. Ooh, that's really annoying. So people are not going to read and they're going to get lost. I hope they get to put all the operations in one place eventually, because this is going to be confusing. Terminal 7 is where American used to be. I thought they were actually going to be fixing that terminal up, but I did see some other airlines there when I came through. But anyway, so if they don't fly on the 24th, they fly on the 23rd and the 25th. But the fares are pretty good. I mean, $299 for premium economy. So I'm looking at premium economy. Let me scroll down. So they no longer have the when I did it, they had the option of doing Oslo to, it was like an 8 a.m. departure, Oslo to Gatwick, and then Gatwick to New York. And I'd get in at like 3 o'clock in New York. So they have three different fares: Premium Light, $299; Premium Classic, $389; Premium Flextra, $569. Each of them come with different things. So the one I got was a light, and I got my underseat bag, I got my carry-on, I got the 2 meals, I got a premium boarding, priority check-in, and if I wanted to change it, there'd be a fee for it. Excuse me. The difference between the premium light and the premium classic, which is actually $90, is I can check a bag. That's the difference. So I'm basically paying $90 to check a bag. Now, what's the difference between premium classic and premium flextra? It's changeable. So I get everything I got for premium classic, but if I need to change it, there will be no charge to change it. And that difference is it's $170, 1069, 70, 170, yeah. So it's interesting how that piece works. Sorry, it's 180. 180, yeah, what difference $180. But for me, the premium light works because I get to carry 2 bags. So I could take the underseat bag, I take a carry-on, I get 2 meals, and I get premium boarding, priority check-in, change it before fee. I'm good with that, right? I'm not checking a bag. If you're going to check a bag, then you pay the extra $90. So let me pick the regular premium light and I'll continue. So for $299, I can cross the Atlantic. And I'm not going to worry about paying for a seat or anything like that. But if I need to modify, I can pay $45. Well, that's already included. The carry-on and the light check is already included. And that's actually $105. So $105 after $298 fare is really bags. Crazy, right? If I wanted to do a standard check-in bag, it'd be $70. That's extra. And if I want to do a heavy check bag, it's $170 to do that, but I don't need any of those. Uh, so the interesting thing, if you notice that the the check bag was $70, but if I bought it in the fair, it's $90. But I think that's the regular size bag. It just gets a little confusing. So the seat assignments, that first row in premium economy is 120. And then the seat that I sat in was $75, which you still have to pay, even though um, you're in premium economy. And if you want in the middle seat, it's $45 for the middle seat. So I was in 7J or something. So I could pick that. That's an extra $75 if I wanted to do that. But still, it's $373 that your fare is going up to. So it's really not bad. And now you have your meals, and the meal for the first meal, which is included, um, would be, well, there's no price because the meal is included. In priority, in premium, all the fares includes a meal. So it's actually not too bad. And you can get, if you need a vegetarian meal, you can also get that. All right. So let's see why I didn't get my priority thing. Skip the queue and access the priority check-in desk. That's included. That was at $20. Fast track was $12. So the reason why I didn't get my fast track was because I didn't pay the $12. But then the lady at the desk didn't upsell me to that $12. So that would have been good if she did. But that's why I didn't. For an extra $12. I don't think it's worth it. Oh, you can get a tapas platter on board. So that's not too bad. And you can do your carbon offset. That's tapas platter is $9. Carbon offset is $6. Uh and then I guess the next piece is just gonna ask you who's traveling and things like that. So all in all, it's not bad. You could, you know, like I said, for 300 bucks, right? You can cross the Atlantic in relative comfort. It's not too bad. And you get two meals and you get a complimentary drink. I guess two complimentary drinks. You get coffee, tea, or water. So it is actually, when you think about what you're getting, it's not a bad deal because the regular fare on that same day, one way, Oslo to Norway, what day were we going to go? The 25th of May. Um, let's go to Google Flights. And we're going to do the 25th of May, Oslo to JFK. And let's just see how much that fare is. Now, Norse does not have any frequent flyer program. They don't have any agreements with any of the airlines at the moment. So if we do Oslo to JFK, so you're not getting any benefits. But if all you want to do is just cross the Atlantic, then it's not too bad. So if I go and do May 25th, I remember that they only do specific dates. So if they're only doing specific dates, maybe they don't fly on the day that you want, but I think it looks like they're daily now. So they're showing $153 because I chose the just economy fare, and KLM is $460. So if you want to save some money, then this is not a bad way to do it. You're saving about $300 right there. And if you, let's say you want to do premium economy is $298 and KLM is $956, Air France is $958. And so that is actually a really, really good savings. If all you want to do is just cross the Atlantic. So let me just stop sharing that screen. So I hope that gives you an idea of what premium economy and Norse is like. If you get any questions or anything like that, just please let me know. And speaking of questions, one of my readers did send me some quick questions. So since this is all related, let me answer those before I go. Okay, so they said, All the okay, they wanted to know if all the films were US based films, and yes, they are. I think I did mention that in there. And I was saying that yeah, it would have been cool to have like some local films, but they're all, you know, I guess they got them from US based films. Um, yeah, another question was, let me just get to the right thing. Uh, uh, oh, my seat did actually have power, so that was good. They wanted to know how did I get from Torshavn, which is in the Far Islands, to Oslo. And what I did, I took Atlantic Airways from Torshavn to Copenhagen, and then I took SAS from Copenhagen to Oslo. And at the time, I had my United. Actually, I had my United Starlines Gold membership, which is I think it ended at a trial membership, and it ended, and I was able to use the lounge in Oslo. Um, Actually, in Copenhagen. Um, on the way back, I was flying a different airline, so I couldn't. Well, I was flying Norse. Oh, he wanted to know how am I able to spend that many days away from home with a carry and a backpack? So I pack very lightly and I roll my clothing when I pack them. And then what I did was that I washed the clothes when I was in Berlin. So all the clothes that I used in Berlin, I washed them. My room was actually quite hot and I couldn't turn it down. And so when I washed my stuff and left the room and came back, it was dry. So and I was only there for a day and it was great. So that's one way that you can do whenever you travel is just wash your stuff when you travel. And that allows you to save quite a bit um of of carrying extra things with you. He goes in Fort Lauderdale there was traffic. Yeah, so when I went to Fort Lauderdale, I got there in the morning, I left at night, and I have some friends in Fort Lauderdale, so I ended up staying. um let's see. He was trying to think of how do you get people not to switch seats. And I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it's just the flight attendant's gonna have to do it. Or I guess you figure out how to price the seats so that people don't feel the need to move. I see this happen on like like I've flown full service carriers and people tend to move from those seats, and it's the flight attendants that have to police it. Problem with all these rules is that in corporate, you sit and you come up with the rules, and then the flight attendants are always the one that have to execute them. Um, blah 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 up and down. Oh, he says he complained that upon boarding, seat belts weren't crossed and armrests weren't uniformly up or down. Did you see that was another pay for option on your LCC fee? No, it was not another pay for. But you know what it is? It's like um obviously the cabin was not presented properly, right? It doesn't matter if you're LCC or not. Um, they obviously look like they cleaned it, but it doesn't take much to put it back in a manner that looks like you've at least done something with it, which is all. In the low cost carriers, when you get on Ryanair, everything is set properly. There is nothing out of place, so they've figured out how to do it. Um, we were talking about the headphones, and he says that of course the headphones they give you make you buy on planes are low quality. How do you think they can afford to sell them to you for only $5? True, but they're crap. I'd rather you sell me something more expensive that actually works than sell me the crappy ones. I think it's because no one has actually the people who buy them haven't actually sat down and listened to them. They're terrible. Um, we talked about the films. Um, Yeah, so one of the things, I talked about Norse pulling out of Fort Lauderdale, and I don't know if that was a seasonal route in terms of Fort Lauderdale, Berlin, because there's actually a lot of German travelers that goes to Florida. One of the routes that Air Berlin used to fly was Fort Myers. They used to fly into, I think it was at Dusseldorf, Fort Myers, or something like that that they used to fly. But so German Florida market is actually quite big, and I guess it's winter's ending, so maybe that's why, but I don't know. Maybe if someone from Norse is listening, they can let me know if that's a seasonal market and that's why they pulled out. But they're still serving Fort Lauderdale, but they're just going to Oslo now. You talked about, did you say Singapore Airlines flew from Fort Lauderdale to Frankfurt? So I probably misspoke a little bit on that because it's a code share. So it's Fort Lauderdale to Newark on United, and then JFK to Frankfurt on Singapore Airlines itself. Um, and I think those are all the comments that I got. So if you get any comments at all, feel free to, leave them or send me a note or anything like that, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. So this is a little longer than I wanted to. I think I was rambling quite a bit, so sorry about that. But this is Kerwin with What's Happening in Travel. And this has been another episode, and thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And not sure what next episode is about. Maybe about Atlantic Airways, because I've flown Atlantic Airways and I need to write about them. But that's all I got. If you got any questions, please let me know. And have a good flight. This is Kerwin.